Meghan Markle wrote, "How Duchess falling out with Father Thomas Markle perplexed friends." Meghan Markle revealed her struggle with public and press scrutiny as a new mother in a new ITV documentary, but she omitted to mention her troubled relationship with her own family. The Duchess of Sussex has become estranged from her father Thomas Markle and half-siblings, Samantha and Thomas Jr. Only her mother Doria Ragland, who divorced Thomas when Meghan was a child, was present for the royal wedding last year and has met their newborn grandchild, Archie Harrison. Thomas and Samantha have both spoken to the media on many occasions about Meghan, and Samantha has even claimed to be writing a book about her, which is likely to have piled more pressure on the Duchess. However, Meghan's conflict with her father actually dates back to when she was 18 years old. As a child, Thomas and Meghan had been close and, as a Hollywood lighting director, he had helped with numerous plays she was in at school. However, in the summer between school and her first term at Northwestern University, they fell out, according to 2018 book Meghan, a Hollywood Princess. Royal biographer Andrew Morton said, "Meghan made that last summer at home count, but she was also troubled. She and her father weren't getting along and she was deliberately avoiding him." The emotional shutters had come down. Meghan went to stay with her mother and did not even visit her father's house to pick up her mail. It was a situation that perplexed her friends, as they knew that Meghan was the apple of her father's eye and could get away with blue murder. It is unclear what this first falling out was actually about, but it is possible that his disagreement sowed the seeds for their current issues. Thomas had always had a laissez-faire attitude to parenting, allowing Meghan to do what she liked. What's more, he had doted on his youngest child to the point where Samantha had been jealous of how much time he spent on her. There is a big age gap between the girls, with Samantha being 17 years old when Meghan was born, and Samantha noticed how much more attentive Thomas seemed to be with the new baby than he had been with her. Samantha even claimed that Meghan boasted about being the favored child, and described how she had teased her that whatever their father bought Samantha for Christmas, Meghan would receive the most expensive gift. However, their brother Thomas Jr. insisted her criticism of the Duchess is just jealousy, adding that Samantha has always been bitter and negative. He told New magazine, "She was very jealous of Meghan from the beginning and still to this very day." Thomas Jr. described his father's relationship with Meghan as a loving one, especially when Meghan was young. He told Mr. Morton, "He spent every single minute he could with her. My dad was more in love with her than anyone else in the world, and that included Doria. She became his whole life, his little princess. He was just blown away by Meghan." This is why it was so confusing to friends when this conflict happened in the summer between high school and university, driving a wedge between them. However, they apparently dismissed the whole incident as a summer storm, given what their relationship was usually like. Mr. Morton wrote, "While the split between father and daughter was unusual, her friends dismissed it as simply a summer storm." It was not the best send-off for her college career though. Despite this unfortunate stain on her final summer at home, Meghan managed to squeeze in some screen work and spent time with her friends, including best friend Ninaki Pretty. Meghan Markle reveals how she now identifies, which has changed since becoming a royal. Meghan Markle opened up about the way she identifies in a revealing interview with ITV's Tom Bradby. Mr. Bradby shadowed the Duke and Duchess of Sussex during their recent tour of South Africa, gaining unprecedented access to the royal couple. In a program aired on Sunday evening called Harry and Meghan, An African Journey, Mr. Bradby asked the Duchess about her references to being a woman of color, that she made in a speech in Cape Town. He asked, "You talked about being a woman of color in the same breath as you talked about being in the royal family. I think people are very interested in your experiences of race in Britain and America, of being a mixed couple. I presume why you talked in those terms was quite deliberate?" The Duchess began her reply by saying she hoped that people would get to the point where they would simply view herself and Harry as a couple in love. She said, "I don't wake up every day and identify as being anything other than who I've always been, which is Meghan. I married this incredible man and this to me is just part of our love story." Meghan claimed that the decision to make reference to her identity as a woman of color was last-minute and spontaneous. She explained, "When I made the choice to add those words into the speech, it was really at the last minute. I said to Harry, what do you think if I add this in ? I don't know, it just felt right." He very kindly and supportively said, "If that feels right, that's what you should do, because it is true. Before I was part of this family, that's how I identify with people and connection, as a mother now, as a wife now, but just as a woman. And as a woman of color, which has been brought to the forefront in a more prominent way." The Duchess also movingly talked about the pressures and difficulties that she has faced since marrying Harry. Mr. Badby asked Meghan about the impact on your physical and mental health of all the pressure that you clearly feel under. The Duchess of Sussex said, "I would say, look, any woman, especially when they are pregnant, you are really vulnerable, and so that was made really challenging. And then when you have a newborn, you know? And especially as a woman it's really a lot. So you add this on top of just trying to be a new mum or trying to be a newlywed." Meghan continued speaking about her emotional state, adding not many people have checked whether she was truly okay. She said, "Well, I guess, and also thank you for asking, but not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be think through behind the scenes." Meghan is then asked, and the answer is, would it be fair to say, not really okay? As in, it's really been a struggle? To which Meghan simply answered yes. Meghan Markle's father Thomas Markle explains why he released her private letter. Meghan Markle's father Thomas Markle is defending his choice to make public parts of a letter he says his estranged daughter sent him earlier this year, as she and husband Prince Harry pursue a legal battle against the British tabloid that published it. In February, the Mail on Sunday published excerpts of the long handwritten note, which Thomas, 75, said the Duchess of Sussex had sent him shortly after the couple's May 2018 wedding, which he did not attend. At the time, Thomas, who has publicly spoken about his estrangement from his daughter many times, told the Mail on Sunday then that he was forced to release the letter because its contents were falsely portrayed. In a new interview with the outlet, published on Saturday, Thomas specified that it was cited by one of Meghan's friends in a People magazine interview. "I decided to release parts of the letter because of the article from Meghan's friends in People magazine," he said. "I have to defend myself. I only released parts of the letter because other parts were so painful. The letter didn't seem loving to me. I found it hurtful." He writes her a really long letter in return, and he closes it by requesting a photo op with her, the friend had told People. And she feels like, "That's the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm telling you I don't want to communicate through the media, and you're asking me to communicate through the media. Did you hear anything I said? It's almost like they're ships passing. I don't recognize the person who wrote the letter, but I still love my daughter," Thomas told the Mail on Sunday. "All it would take is one phone call and most of this craziness would stop." The Mail on Sunday reported that Thomas is also angered by false claims that he requested and received payment for releasing parts of the letter. The outlet also stated that no payment was requested or given for their article on Saturday. Last week, Meghan and Harry's lawyers initiated legal proceedings against the publication over its release, as the Duke of Sussex, in an unprecedented move, called out the entire British tabloid press over their ruthless campaign against Meghan. His statement came in the middle of the couple's tour of southern Africa, their first official royal trip with now 5-month-old son Archie Harrison, and followed months of unflattering media coverage about the Duchess. Meghan and Harry's law firm released a statement last week saying, "We have initiated legal proceedings against the Mail on Sunday, and its parent company Associated Newspapers, over the intrusive and unlawful publication of a private letter written by the Duchess of Sussex, which is part of a campaign by this media group to publish false and deliberately derogatory stories about her, as well as her husband. Given the refusal of Associated Newspapers to resolve this issue satisfactorily, we have issued proceedings to redress this breach of privacy, infringement of copyright and the aforementioned media agenda. The contents of a private letter were published unlawfully in an intentionally destructive manner to manipulate you, the reader, and further the divisive agenda of the media group in question, Harry said in his statement. In addition to their unlawful publication of this private document, they purposely misled you by strategically omitting select paragraphs, specific sentences, and even singular words to mask the lies they had perpetuated for over a year. A spokesperson for the Mail on Sunday later told E! News in a statement, "The Mail on Sunday stands by the story it published and will be defending this case vigorously. Specifically, we categorically deny that the Duchess letter was edited in any way that changed its meaning." Also last week, it was reported that Harry has launched legal proceedings against the owners of British tabloids The Sun and The Mirror over the alleged hacking of his phone. Buckingham Palace confirmed that claims were filed in court regarding alleged illegal interception of voicemail messages, and News Group, parent company of The Sun, confirmed a claim had been issued, according to The Guardian newspaper. It is unclear when the alleged hacking took place and the cases could span back many years.